Welcome. Let's take a look at our top story. South Africa will be hosting the key BRICS Summit later this month. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after telephonic talks with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, has confirmed that he will be attending the summit in person in Johannesburg. With this, a key focus of the summit becomes Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping coming together in the same room amid frosty relations. Now, the ongoing territorial dispute between India and China remains unresolved, and it is yet to be seen if both the leaders can break the ice in the upcoming summit. Apart from this, another disagreement among both leaders is regarding the BRICS expansion. The matter is expected to be one of the top on the agenda of the upcoming summit. China is vying for BRICS enlargement as it seeks to increase its political influence at the time of heightened tensions with the United States. With the expansion, China seeks to get more countries opposed to the US-centric global order and to follow Chinese principles of international institutions. India is expected to delay the expansion. However, considering many of the nations who are aspiring to join the grouping are India's strategic allies, including the UAE, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, it is not going to be easy. Though the upcoming summit faces a series of challenges, the meeting of powerful nations, which represents the example of the growing multipolar world, is likely to be bringing key outcomes and is expected to determine BRICS' role in global strategic and economic development. Now, for more on this, we are being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal from New Delhi. Hello to you, Siddhant. Now, Prime Minister Modi has confirmed that he will be attending the summit in person. The focus now is on Prime Minister Modi and President Xi being together in the same room amid these frosty relations. What details do you have for us?
Well, so far there is, of course, no confirmation on any such bilateral. In fact, there is no confirmation whether the Chinese President Xi Jinping will be traveling to South Africa for BRICS Summit. But in all likelihood, he is expected to travel. But essentially, since both the leaders of India and China will be under same roof, so there will be speculations. Now, remember, the last time they were under the same roof, that was in Bali at the G20 Summit that took place in November of last year. And we saw that handshake between the two leaders, and what both the Chinese and the Indian side have said now that there were conversation. Indian side has been now saying that not just the pleasantries were exchanged, but stabilization of the relationship is something that the Indian side raised with the Chinese side. And before that, both the leaders were under the same roof in Samarkand, where there were no conversation. So essentially, if there is a meeting that takes place, this will be seen as a thaw. But given what is the current status of the relationship, we can obviously not crystal gaze as to how things will pan out when the summit starts and both the leaders will be under the same roof.
Right, and Siddhant, BRICS expansion is expected to be high on the agenda. What is India's view on this?
Well, yesterday at the weekly foreign ministry briefing of India, we saw the Indian spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, Arindam Bagchi, explaining that. First, he pointed out to the consensus among the leaders when it comes to the BRICS expansion, and also how the Indian External Affairs Minister has said that India is looking at the expansion with an open mind. Now, what is the current status? We have seen a Sherpa meeting happening under the chairmanship of South Africa, where India gave its own view, and also the report of the Sherpa meeting was taken up by the foreign ministers in a virtual meeting. Now, essentially, India has dismissed reports that there is resistance from New Delhi side over expansion, calling these reports as baseless. But essentially, India is essentially in favor of expansion, but has been supporting key guidelines that should be prepared for countries who have shown interest in the grouping. Now, over 20 countries have expressed interest in being part of the BRICS grouping, countries like Saudi Arabia, Argentina, and Indonesia, and there is a strong likelihood that during this year's summit that takes place in Johannesburg, the big focus, of course, will be the announcement on expansion, but laying out the guidelines rather than announcement of the members which will be part of this expanded BRICS grouping.
Right, Sudan, thank you very much for bringing us all those details and that analysis there.